Well, happy President's Day and welcome back to Supercharged Homes. Today we're doing something kind of fun. Window casing makes the space look a lot better for not that much effort, to be honest with you. Minimal tools to do this job. Some caulk, some primer, some paint, a brad gun. If you don't have one, I recommend getting one. Some 1x4s and 1x6s, that's it. And a circular saw if you don't have one. I'll walk you through the whole process. Again, don't overthink it. Take your time. It really makes your space look a lot more premium for not a lot of money. Everything you'll need to do this job will be down in the description below. Any questions, by all means, feel free to ask in the comments. So I'm gonna stop jibber jabbering, let's get to work. All right, here's the windows we're gonna be working on. I got a little ahead of myself already. The only thing I've done off camera is I added a little 2" by 2" block to bring out the sill. So when the trim's not gonna, be too far out from the sill, so it was like goofy. And I put some wood filler on it, and the bottom, same thing, about 2 inches out, and I matched it with the same size as this bottom trim. It's up to you how far out you want it from the side trim. I like about 1/2 inch, and the way I measured it, that's what it's gonna do. And again, this is just pine 1x4, just use a circular saw to cut it to my liking, and used my brad nailer, nail it to the wall and top down into this guy. Don't overthink it. Now, the good thing about working on windowsills, especially in newer homes, is you got a couple inches, or in some cases a few inches of stud to work with, so you don't kind of worry about finding studs. Doing sills is pretty easy in that regard. So we'll be doing this window. This window is already done. I'm using this one as a template to keep it all, to keep the continuity and keep it all uniform. And then, again, I already did both of these sides. This is a very long window. These will be 1x4s in the sides, 1x6s in the middle, 1x7s in the middle, and a 1x6 up top. And these little guys, just 2 flanking 1x4s to the 1x6 on top. Same over there. I did these 2 last weekend to make sure I liked how it turned out, and I'm very happy with it. As you can see when you do it, it's pretty seamless. You can't even tell that I added on to this. If you really look, you can tell, but it's hard to see. So that's how we're gonna be making the other windows look. Here, here, and here. Those should be really quick and dirty. And we'll start over here. The little hardware store I go to get my wood only had enough for the sides and the middle one. So tomorrow night we'll do the top sills. Not a big deal. But when we do the sills, we have to make them a little proud, have them come out a little bit. So we are gonna shim them a 1/4 inch behind there. Again, don't overthink it. Well, when we get there, I'll show you how to do it. But for now, we're just gonna cut and put our side trim up. I like to leave about 1/8 of an inch. It's up to you how much you wanna leave, up to a 1/4 inch. I don't recommend anything more than a 1/4 inch. Might look a little goofy. So I'm gonna get these cut and thrown up all the way around. And one thing I find myself doing when I do window trim, I do take a level and go all the way across exactly where I want my pieces to be. That way I can measure from here to the bottom sill, because the 2 sides might be a little off. The bottom might be a little wonky, or the top might be a little wonky. This way both sides is true when you measure them. Might be off by 1/16 of an inch. This will make your job much easier once these are in and you put your top sill across. You don't have to, but I like to do it. And sure enough, when I went to measure and cut these guys for both sides, this was 70 inches and 1/8. This was 70 inches and 1/4 from the sill. And this is a true level line up there. So another data point. All right, just like that. Once the top sill's on with some shims, we're pretty much done. We're on to caulking, priming, and painting. A little bit of advice though. I got my nice 1/8 of an inch lip right there. It's gonna happen. You're not gonna have perfect wood. If you gotta bend it or persuade it a little bit, start at the bottom, get a few brads in there in the studs, and then towards the top, you can kind of bend it back where you want it, and then do your brads up there, and then work yourself down. And this was kind of annoying where this is perfectly true all the way up. It kind of lose my 1/8 inch gap right there a little bit. That's just because the windowsill, the way they mudded it, it just isn't perfect. Once it's all the same color, you won't really notice that I'm being kind of nitpicky. So let's go ahead and work on the outer ones of these guys. Boom, boom. These, I gotta rip these. I got 8 inches. I gotta take about 1 inch to fit that. And then we'll do those, and then we'll work on these guys in the middle. And once again, so measuring my reference point, 1/8 inch above my sill, down here to that side, these are off by 1/4 inch. So somewhere the sill is off, the window is not quite level or plumb, but I mean, to the naked eye, you'll never tell. But that's why I measure both the outsides as well, just so I'm doing both the same size, if that makes sense. There we go, moving right along. Pretty easy little project. All right, we're gonna do these 2 sides right here. Should be quick and dirty. And then we'll get these knocked out tonight. All right, guys, it's the next day. I got all my vertical boards good to go. Now today we're gonna do our top ones, right? But like I said, you want these to stick out a little bit. I like about 1/4 inch. So what I have done, I made some little spacers out of some scrap wood. These are 1/4 inch. You can make out however you want, doesn't really matter. I got my board cut the size to go up there. I like a 1/2 inch overhang on both sides. So you just measure from there to there, add 1 inch, and there you go. You got 1/2 inch on both sides. This guy's cut and ready to go. But before we put it up there, we're gonna put about 5 of those shim spacers, 1 on both sides, and probably 3 in the middle. And then we'll get this guy bratted up there right on top of it. Man, I'm loving that. Make this too easy. As long as you just take your time doing this, it's not that hard of a job. It really isn't. So once I get all these up, the next thing we gotta do is all the little brad holes and large knots. Go over some caulk. And then I already filled these guys in with caulk, which you already seen that in time lapse. We just gotta go around this guy. There's a little bit of a gap, so take your time. I like to do it, wait a day, except we'll shrink and then go one more time, and then we'll prime it. Cool, all of our headers are up now. Even my 10 foot. I did something kind of lazy. I don't recommend this. I had a leftover 8 and I used another 3 feet. I don't recommend it because it's more of a chance for it to crack later on. And it's really hard to shim and get perfect. And you gotta use a lot of wood filler, but I made it work. And no one will ever know. So those are filled. So the next part we're gonna do is all the caulk around here. I'll do that tomorrow. It's Valentine's Day night. The wife is probably like, so we're gonna have a few drinks. I'm gonna give her the most mediocre wienering of her life, and we're gonna have a good night. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Okay, bye. All right, next day here, ready to go. All of our headers are done, we're taped up. Now, you don't have to tape, and normally I don't tape. The reason why I'm taping is because, well, let me rephrase that. I would just prime it and paint it and then edge it back up with the color of the wall they gave me. But the extra wall color they gave me to match is a little different. What's on there, the sheen. So I'm just not gonna waste my time and I tape. That's why I taped it. You don't have to do that. But one thing you do want to do before you start priming and painting is going around with a caulk gun and all the knots and all the little brad holes, you want to fill them. So for instance, all the knots right there, I went over it with some caulk and flattened it down. It'll help a lot at the end. But see down here, these little holes, you want to fill those guys in. Get a little caulk gun, nothing special. Give it a little dab, right there, and just fill it in. Just like that. Take your time. Find every little imperfection on the wood. It'll save you a lot of time later on. And I got most of them all done, as you can see. And that way it'll look nice and smooth when you're done. All right, we're all primered up. Looks really good. This is a good chance to go through and find little imperfections. It'll help you find stuff much easier. And the reason why I prime is for two things: paint hiding, paint adhesion. The last thing is we're using pine. The knots like to bleed through on white paint. So if you use a primer, it won't do that. Yeah, looks really good. I'm gonna let this dry for a couple hours and then we'll do a fun time lapse doing the gloss white paint. And then I'll wrap this up. That little guy too over there. Don't forget about him. Looking good, guys. All right, see you guys in about 2 hours. All right, got one squared away with 2 coats. Absolutely loving it. So we'll do a time lapse doing the other 3 with 1 coat. I'll show you how that looks. I'll do 1 coat and then the second coat off camera and do a fun little review. All right, gang, first coat's on. It looks awesome. Don't mind the mess of the house. So I'm gonna let this dry a little bit. I'm gonna do one more coat. I'm gonna do a fun little final reveal. But man, I'm loving it. What a fun little weekend project. All right, we are all wrapped up. Fun, successful little weekend project. Like the wife said when she saw it, it looks like that's how the house should have came. And I agree. It matches the one that did come with the house right there. Boom. So much better. Eventually these walls will be a little bit darker to showcase the casing and the lights or the white trim. Yeah, loving it. What do you think, baby kitten? She's been there all day since last night. She hasn't moved. I know, it's okay. I take care of the kids all day and do this. Worn out. My wife is broken. I love it. So yeah, so all, and then 4 of these and the 2 in the front. I think total cost is about $200. I think if I were to pay the builder to do it, $800 per window, something like $4,500. So not too bad. Pretty cool. Love it. Feel free to ask questions, guys. See you guys next time. Mark out.